So the idea behind this evening was to follow on from last night. So I don't know if tonight's people were in attendance last night, but hopefully some of you were. So it's I suppose it's a follow on to give you some ideas of practical tips, quick and easy snack ideas that make fueling for your training that bit easier. So like I suppose a key point from yesterday was fueling your immune system. So making sure your immune system is properly fueled by not having nutrient deficits. And when we're talking about nutrient deficits, it crosses the whole range of your carbs, your proteins, your fats, along then with all your micronutrients. So today I just have a mix of 3 different, hopefully simple enough snack ideas that it'll just see, I suppose it's just to demonstrate how easy they are, how they can be used in a practical setting. So whether it's part of your lunchbox, whether it is before an early morning swim session, or whether it's after school before a swim session, or part of, like I said, part of your lunchbox. So I have 3 different ones that I wanted to start do this evening. The first one are egg muffins. So very simply, and apologies, my kitchen isn't particularly well set up for demo purposes. So I'm going to be moving about, but hopefully you should be able to hear me and you will see most of what I'm doing. So literally with this one, so I'm going to put this on first because this one I do have to cook. So with this one I do have to put it in the oven. So while this one is cooking, it'll take about 15 minutes. I will then be able to make the other 2. So by the time we finish at 8 o'clock, we will have 3 different snacks. And it just shows, I suppose, how what like athletes are, any sports person is a busy person. So when you're in the kitchen, we want you to be as productive as possible with your time. So what I want to show you is that in the space of this half an hour, you will have 3 different variations of snacks ready to go. So I'm going to start here with this one, and in this bowl literally all I have are 6 eggs whisked up. So I just cracked in 6 eggs, and all I'm going to do then is add into these eggs some and literally it's a case of whatever you have left over in your fridge. So remember, when I'm talking about your nutrients, I'm talking about, we want to make sure that you have your protein, we want to make sure that you have your veg, and you want to have your carbs. So with these, I have just chopped up some leftover cooked chicken, some mushrooms, peppers, and a couple of tomatoes. So all I'm going to do is add these into my whisked up eggs. You can use whatever veg of choice you have. So if it's the case that there's nothing except a tin of sweet corn and an onion in your fridge, that works well. Another option could be, it could be leftover ham and chorizo. That goes really well. You don't have to add a meat source, so there's plenty of protein with your eggs anyway. So then just to flavor it up, I'm going to do is add a little bit of salt, some black pepper, and some chili flakes just for a little bit of flavor. Like another option could be, I could use broccoli and sun-dried tomato. I could use, if it was ham, I probably would use ham, peppers and onions. So it's whatever combination you want. And then I just need a drop of milk. And literally that's it. So mix it around. I have the oven preheated to 180 degrees, and these are going to take about 15 minutes to cook. So like I said, by the time I'm finished doing the other ones, these will be ready to go. So literally all I'm doing now is just going to pour these into the bun cases that I have already made out. And if you have, you don't have to use paper cases. Sometimes the annoying thing with the paper cases is that you have to peel it off the finished product. So you could just grease if you had a decent muffin tin, you could just grease your tray, and then you don't need to use the paper cases. So then just make sure that you get plenty of the veg in each one. So with my 6 eggs, I'm actually going to get 9 muffins. So I just want to make sure I have plenty of the good bits in all of them. And that is that one. Sprinkle a little bit of cheese on top. And these are perfect because these can be used for a breakfast option. They can be used for a lunch option. They can be used as a post-gym option. They could be used any time of the day, and they can be eaten hot or cold. So some people, I remember one place I worked, one of the staff became obsessed with them, and they became like his breakfast and his lunch, and he'd heat them up and add some cottage cheese to them, and they were his snack of choice. So that's my 9 filled trays, and I'm just going to pop in the oven for about 15 minutes. And I'll set the timer there. Okay, so that's snack number 1, which is our sort of savory snack. So snack number 2 then is going to be the one that I said for anyone who was on last night. I put up the ingredients, so I said this would be a good one to sort of make and do as we go along. So this is for an energy ball one. And I know there was someone yesterday who had so I have 3 ingredients. I have nuts, I have dates, and I have desiccated coconut. So it's the easiest energy ball recipe you'll ever make. There was someone on last night who wanted to know is there an alternative to desiccated coconut. So what I do have is I have a separate recipe that doesn't have any desiccated coconut, which will be able to get distributed afterwards. So for this one, all we need is your mixed nuts, your NutriBullet or your blender, and your dates. So I have in here, I have 6 dessert spoons of desiccated coconut. I am going to put in 12 dates, I think my recipe called for. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And it's funny, someday I will actually weigh out these, but at the moment when I'm making them, I'm counting them out. So I had 48 nuts. So it's a mix. I just use a mix of cashew and almond, but you can use whatever you want. If you had hazelnut, cashew, walnut, pistachio, whatever nuts of choice. So literally they're going in as well. And that is it. They are going into the NutriBullet. And so you're not going to hear me for, so I'm just going to blitz these for about 10 seconds, give it a shake, and then another 10 seconds. And that is it. The joy of a actually there's 1 or 2 nuts that aren't fully broken up there. So let me give it one more blitz. The joy of a NutriBullet is it blends it so quickly. So if you're using another mixer, you might just find that it takes a little while for it all to come down, to come together. So like there's steam practically rising out of this now. And you might wonder how they're all going to stick together, but it's the oils that are released from the nuts, along with the juice from the dates, just makes this a nice sticky mixture. So all I do there is literally I've just poured it onto a plate, and all I'm going to do then is start making them into little energy balls. So depending on, I suppose, the size that you want to make. But if I want to get about 10 to 12 out of these, so I'm making them about this size. So they come together perfectly because it is, like I said, the moisture from the dates along with the oil from the nuts. It's like you can see my hands are actually quite greasy already from it. So literally then all I'm doing is rolling these into my portions, and then these are perfect for, so normally when I have them made I'll just store them in the fridge, but if I wasn't going to be eating all of them in one go, what I would probably do is put a batch into the freezer and then just take maybe 2 out the night before I need them, add them to my lunchbox or wherever I'm going that day, and they're a perfect sort of snack for either part of your lunch or mid-morning or mid-afternoon. I did say that it was optional if you wanted to melt some chocolate and then literally get your fork and just drizzle some chocolate over them. I haven't even bothered tonight because it'll be, well, I think they're lovely as they are. So what I'll get you to do is, if you are making them, so we'll just continue till we have them all rolled up, and then taste one before you decide if you're going to add some chocolate to it or not. If you are adding chocolate to it, literally you're getting about 30 grams melted in the microwave for about 30 seconds just in a little bowl, melted in microwave 30 seconds, give it a stir. It might need another 10 seconds, and then just with your fork you drizzle a little bit of chocolate over each one and then leave it in the fridge to set. So really, I don't think anyone can go wrong with this recipe, but you might tell me otherwise. I don't know if there's any comments or questions coming in, Andy.
There were just a few questions that I've responded to. I think one of them was, what temperature do the muffins go in at? But I think you said 180. So,
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And a question around whether the recipes would be sent out afterwards. That's certainly something we can do.
Yeah, perfect. So there we go. So I have all of them rolled up, and I am after making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've got 10 out of those ingredients, that volume that I gave to you there. So it's easy to multiply up or multiply down. And then, once you get used to it, you'll be able to do it by feel. You won't even need to start counting out your 48 nuts. You'll know from, and like, there's a few of us who make them here, and we they all taste differently because someone puts in extra coconut, someone puts in extra nuts, and it's one of those recipes where you don't need to be very exact with it. So I'm just going to pop these in the fridge and give my hands a quick wash. Okay, so 2 of our 3 snacks done. The next one is probably one of the easiest ones that, again, I don't think you could get any easier than this, and it's probably something that a lot of people already do. But excuse the jar, but you'll just see how like you just use whatever you have in the house. So I had an empty jam jar there this morning, and I have made 1 overnight oats here. So you'll see it's a chocolate flavor. So I have chocolate overnight oats with almond in this one, and this makes a perfect snack for breakfast. So literally, if you've made it the night before, you have it in the fridge and then you're grabbing and going. So no matter how little time you have in the morning, leaving house to go training without a breakfast is not an excuse. So something like this is perfect. So I'm just going to demo how you make these, and literally it couldn't be any easier. So I have another jam jar here. We go through a lot of the Bon Maman strawberry jam in this house. Um, so I have put porridge oats, just plain porridge oats in here. So you'll see there, I probably have about just about half the jar. It's probably about 40 grams, but you can fill it up more if you want. To that, I'm going to add my milk. So just enough milk to coat the oats. And the beauty of this one is you can make this, you can add whatever you want. So whatever your personal preference is. So like I said, if you're a chocolate person, this would go down a treat for you. And this could be a perfect post training recovery snack. So chocolate oats, how nice is that? So with this one, I have my milk. I am going to put in some yogurt. So again, a lot of the recipes would say to use Greek yogurt. I only had some plain natural yogurt in the fridge. So the Greek yogurt will just make it a little bit thicker and it'll be a little bit kind of creamier. But I'm just putting in 2 dessert spoons of natural yogurt. So that's kind of your base ingredients, is your oats, your milk, and your yogurt. And after that, then it's up to you to put whatever you want into it. So I'm just going to give that a bit of a stir. And then to this, I'm going to add my own personal preferences, which for me is going to be some cinnamon, sprinkle of cinnamon, a spoon of honey, I am then going to add some blueberries. So let me just give that a mix.
Laura, there's a couple of questions come in there around the energy balls.
Yeah.
One of them was, how long can you keep them in the freezer?
In the freezer, like once it's in the freezer, you can keep it for up to about 6 months. So as long as it's in a airtight container in the freezer, it'll last up to 6 months. I can't imagine them lasting that long. So
Yeah, exactly. Once they're made, they're gone.
Exactly.
Yeah. How much coconut do you put in?
I had 6 dessert spoons.
Okay. And
6 heaped dessert spoons.
Okay, and then can you add peanut butter to them?
Yeah, like literally you can add peanut butter to absolutely anything, because that's the other ingredient that I have here. So I don't know if those energy balls need peanut butter, but like I said, you can add it just might make them a little bit stickier than they need to be. So if you were adding peanut butter to it, you'd probably need a little bit of powder to sort of to dry it up a little bit. So if you were adding peanut butter, you might actually need to add some either skim milk powder or chocolate powder if you had it. But I do have another recipe that has peanut butter in them, and I can circulate that one. So when these are circulated, I can include a peanut butter one as part of it.
That's perfect, thank you.
So yeah, that was the peanut butter one. So most people will add peanut butter to these overnight oats ones. So peanut butter is brilliant for it was like we were talking about yesterday, those heavy training days. How do you know and there was a great question yesterday that I just wanted to finish off answering today. It was, how do you know if it's a hard or a moderate training day? And I would probably say, like, if you have 2 hard sessions in one day, that's a hard training session. That's a hard day. So in terms of the volume and the type of food that you need to be eating on those days, if you are in school and you're playing hockey or football in school and you're going you have swimming training or whatever it might be in the evening, again, that would be classified as a hard day. If it's a case that you have one session only, that might be down to a moderate day. So it's I suppose it's very variable, and it's very individual in terms of knowing what the sessions are. So it's, I suppose, if you go on a plate per plate, so knowing that, okay, that's a hard session, or I'm about to have a hard session, so this meal is going to be a bit of a bigger meal. That's kind of a rule of thumb to go by. So back to the overnight oats. So for the ones I have just made there, so this one is porridge oats with yogurt, cinnamon, honey, and blueberries. And that's all I'm going to add to that one, but you could add whatever you want to it. Goes in the fridge, and then that is my breakfast for tomorrow morning. And this is my snack for whenever I want it. So I have just done a bit of a running session before I did this, so I'm actually going to have a little bit. So there are two very, very, very simple and kind of a no excuse. So a lot of time, and a lot of the time with early morning swimming in particular, like sleep is vital. So we want our athletes to get as much sleep as possible, but we also want you to be organized. So you'd never go to the pool without your goggles or your hat. So why would you go to the pool without the fuel that you need to prepare for your session or to refuel after your session? So all of these snacks are kind of a no excuse mantra that you can be prepared. So as long as you put a bit of planning in advance, knowing what days are going to be busier, that you should have your snacks available for you on those days. I'm just going to grab or check those egg muffins. They probably need about another 4 or 5 minutes. So I don't know if is there any other questions that have come in, because that's our 3 snacks done in less than 20 minutes, really. Well, assuming the eggs are, I'm counting the egg muffins as being nearly done. So
yeah, there's a whole side questions coming in. I'm just trying. My daughter's allergic to nuts, so I'm trying to make seed balls here actually, Sean, while you're talking. So yeah, a few questions around timings. What's the most ideal timing to eat snacks before training?
And a great question, and again, one that's very, very variable. So everyone's stomach, I suppose, and everyone's digestive system works a little bit differently. So ideally, like we'd be saying, about an hour to an hour and a half sort of before a training session. But then I would work with some athletes who actually can't eat. If they were eating within 90 minutes of a training session and it was going to be a hard training session, they would get gastro upset. So they might have to push their meal sort of 2 to 3 hours out from it. So normally what we would say would be like about 3 hours for a bigger meal. And then if it's going to be a snack, that could be 60 to 90 minutes before a session. And you just reminded me there of I had seeds here that I was meant to add to those overnight oats as well. I have sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds, so and chia seed. They are all brilliant to add into those overnight oat options as well.
So some of them are around. How did you add chocolate? I'm assuming that's how did you add chocolate to the overnight oats? Was it cacao or cocoa powder?
Yeah, literally it was drinking chocolate. So again, it would depend. Like if some of our older full-time athletes might add a scoop of chocolate protein powder to it, but otherwise it could be Nesquik chocolate powder, it could be ordinary drinking chocolate, cacao, or regular cooking cocoa chocolate.
So you could use chocolate milk instead of normal milk as well, could you?
Yep, perfect. Yeah.
How long do the overnight oats keep in the fridge?
I probably wouldn't go past 2 days with them really myself, because you have your milk poured out into it. So yeah, 2 days would be my max on that one.
Would that be the same with the energy balls, or would they last a bit longer?
The energy balls will last a bit longer because there's no milk and yogurt in your energy balls. So energy balls in the fridge will last up to 4 or 5 days in the fridge.
All right, perfect. I think that's it for now.
Super. Those egg muffins will be done now. I just need a wire tray to put them on. So egg muffins are done. So shocking camera, shocking light here. I wonder if that's any better if I turn that one off. But yeah, you can see. Can you see them okay?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're done, and that is like, if I was bringing them, like, say for example, as a post-gym snack, I could bring to them and have them with a banana as part of a post-gym snack. If it was going to be part of a post-swimming session, it could be 2 of them and a chocolate milk. 2 of them, like, even it could be one along with my lunchbox, so a couple of sandwiches plus one of these, just to add a bit of variety. So they're great because you can just literally take them and go. And yeah, that's it. That's our 3 snacks. So I've just left the energy balls in the fridge just to firm up a little bit, but they're ready to go. They can be eaten now. I have my overnight oats ready for tomorrow morning, and I have my egg muffins as snacks over the next 2 days or so. So hopefully people have got something out of this and have seen that literally, like, once you have your ingredients, like once you have a packet of desiccated coconut or your dates and your nuts, it's very, very easy, like less than 10 minutes, and that was that snack made. And even like with all of this, it's not as if I have loads of kitchen cleanup either. So it's making it practical, it's making it doable, but it does need to be done to help your fueling. So that is it for me, unless there are any other questions that have come in.
Well, the questions are flying in, Laura. So somebody's asked a question around using fortified milk. So like, I suppose high protein milk or any of those types of milk, are they any better than normal milk, or should we just?
They can help. So yeah, there's a good few companies are adding extra, so they're making higher protein milks, and they can be useful to make sure that you are getting your protein requirements. They can be useful after training sessions, but they're not necessary. A lot of the time you will get your protein from just by making sure that you have your protein source at each of your meals and snacks. But if you're like, your protein requirements will change depending on your body size, so your kilos body weight. So if you're an 85, 90 kilo athlete, your protein requirements will be higher than a 55 kilo athlete. So they can be useful for making up extra protein requirements. But it's just, I suppose, a caveat is that you can have all the protein in the world, but if you don't have the carbohydrates to fuel your training session, and you don't have all the other micronutrients, so your fiber, your calcium, your iron, that the protein isn't going to be this magic fix-it-all. So it's just been thinking of your diet as a whole.
Yeah, thank you. Couple of questions around dinner. So ideas for eating late. So if you're training late into the evening, should you have a proper dinner afterwards, or is there other better
that question always comes up, like because like historically, people say, oh, I shouldn't be eating late at night. But the answer to that is that if eating late at night is how your day pans out, you're much better to eat a dinner late at night than to not eat a dinner. But in an ideal world, if you know that you're going to be training late, you would try and have your dinner, or your bigger meal would be your lunchtime meal. So as then you could go home and you could have scrambled eggs and toast, and that could be the equivalent of your refuel meal. So again, it's about planning in advance. So if you know that those are the days that it could be after 9 o'clock by the time you come in, and you know you're going to be too tired or too wiped out to start cooking, that's a day when you need to either have a batch of cooking done the night before so you have leftovers, or you need to have had your bigger meal during the day so you can have something smaller later on.
Yeah, lovely, thank you. And then the last couple of questions coming in are, can you heat up the oats and can you freeze the muffins?
Yeah, say to the oats. So yes, you just need to be careful. So say with the one that I've put my berries into, if I was going to heat it up, I'd put my berries into it after. So I'd heat it and then add my fruit to it. But other than that, yes, it can be heated, because I know a lot of people do prefer hot oats rather than eating them cold. And the muffins, yes, they can be frozen. So yeah, perfect.
Brilliant. A question came in there around being lactose intolerant. And my kids are both allergic or intolerant to dairy, and they use oat milk. But my other daughter uses goat's milk just because they feel it's higher fat. Have you any thoughts on milk sources?
Yep. So I suppose there's two questions there. So one, if it's lactose intolerant, I would just be using a lactose-free milk. So that's literally your regular cow's milk with the lactose taken out of it. With your oat milk and with your alternative milks, you just need to be careful, because even though it's called a milk, it's not what we would traditionally know as a milk. So your protein content of oat milk would be very low. So it's not the same. So say for example, a soya milk would have a better profile in terms of its protein and some of its other nutrients, compared to an oat milk or a rice milk. Those two in particular will not be the same nutrient profile as your traditional cow's milk.
All right, great, thank you. I think that's all the questions for tonight so far, anyway.
Okay, I'm going to go and eat some of these so before any more come in.
I'm going to go and make some.
Hopefully, people have found this useful, and yes, I'll forward through all the recipes that we used or talked about. One other thing that someone asked last night was smoothie recipes. So again, I have a couple of links to smoothie recipes. There's a nice actual smoothie builder recipe that you can download from the Sport Institute website. So if you go to Sport Ireland and then click on Institute and then go into the nutrition section, there's a nice protein builder there. But I'll put all the links and all that will be on the information I forward on to Swim Ireland.